And voila, we are live for our Tuesday Red Room with Luke. And today we got Ramon on from Wholesale Sharks. I'm going to just start out with just some little market things. I like to start out with
Love
some
it.
market updates that I find. Um, as you know, the market's been a little slow over the fall. The interest rates dropped into that high to mid fives in November, December. And we talked about this last week. It was the first time you don't usually see an upswing in the Phoenix market in November, December, because it's typically the holidays and everybody's just going to their holiday parties.
Oh yeah.
But seeing that 5 and 5 3/4 definitely got some people off the shelf buying properties. And I just pulled a little stat for everybody. Since the first of the year, and obviously the first of the year was a holiday, so it's closed. So in the last 16 days, 4,156 houses have gone under contract.
There we go.
So that's a good sign. If you were to just say, hey, it's halfway through the month and double that, that would roughly be 8,300 houses. Now, it's not the 12,000 houses we were doing, March of last year, but 8,300 houses is way better than the 5,000 to 6,000 houses we were doing in October. So,
Absolutely.
And to give you just one more little tip about the Phoenix market, we dipped to about 15,900 homes that's the lowest it's been since it kind of started going crazy and went up.
That's what's active right now is 15.9.
That's what it dipped to at the lowest point.
Wow.
It crawled its way back up to 16.4 and now has dipped back down to 16,020.
Oh wow.
So people
the
houses that are coming on the market are being purchased, or some of the other stuff being purchased. But
we're back.
Hallelujah.
I'm just saying it's an encouraging first 2 months, and we'll listen to Ramon and Luke, and we'll see what they're seeing out there as well. But that's just the stats, the numbers that are coming off of MLS. But so that's my little intro. Thank you for joining us, whether you're on the Phoenix RIA or Luke's Facebook or Luke's. If you are on Luke's YouTube, go ahead and hit the like button. If you're on my YouTube, go ahead and hit the like button. We are here every Tuesday talking about something to do with real estate. And today we're talking with Ramon, and we're going to hear his story about, obviously the Lamborghini. We got to hear that story because it's all over YouTube. Or not YouTube, Instagram.
Heck yeah.
So how's it going, Ramon?
Hey, great. Thank you guys for having me. Last time we were in person, we're always around a poker table somewhere. But good to be here for official business.
Yeah, I think last time you had put I don't even remember what it was. You put all your chips at that on I don't remember what number. Do you remember what number it was that you put it on?
Oh my God, yes, I do recall. That was something. We're trying to win for the charity. Charity event that you have, and we're just trying to go at it. We're doing crazy betting at the end, and it was some excitement.
I think at the end you had like 30,000 chips. You put it on one number and it hit.
It's ridiculous.
That was pretty cool.
So Ramon, why don't you tell us how you got started in this business, your journey through it, and anything that you could give our listeners tips about real estate is always welcome as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. First of all, thank you guys for having me on. It's definitely an honor. So I've been going at this for about 4 years now. The first year and a half is usually just troubleshooting, trying to find out what's what, trying to learn as much as possible. I think we've been serious, maybe the last year and a half, serious mode. Okay, we can make some money now after, you gathered as much information as you can.
Right.
For me, it was kind of interesting. I was sort of forced into real estate. I didn't say I'm going to become a realtor now and slowly make my way in. I was fired from my old job. I used to work out of England at one point in Manchester, which is ridiculous. How the hell does Ramon, the Mexican guy, work out of England in Manchester?
What were you doing there?
I was doing payments consulting So we'd go into the big retailers, Jack in the Box, Starbucks, all the big guys, and we'd go to Visa and try to renegotiate their rates so they could pay less whenever a client pays with their card.
Cool.
And then we take a cut out of the savings, cheap savings over like a 3-year period. So we're doing that for a couple of years. Ended up getting fired because I was pretty much just complaining at that point. Like my second year in, I was done. The sight of a hotel room and a plane just made me sick. Like I was so depressed towards the end.
Yeah.
Just I had to be away from my family, 5-6 days out of the week, 2 years straight. So,
well, it's cool you say that because I feel like everything that I see you do now is with your family and stuff. So that's awesome.
My God. Yeah. It's all family mode now. I enjoy every moment. It was so depressing saying goodbye to my kids all the time. So it was a blessing in disguise. New guy came into the office. Of course I was like, I'm almost done. I can't take it anymore. Same day, told the boss, this guy's depressed. He can't take it anymore. I was gone. In New York, I was on a plane about to head back to Arizona. Hey, man, we're going to have to let you go. I'm like, oh, yeah, for sure, man, no problem. Not for lack of efforts. In my 2-year history, I managed to sign up Victoria's Secret, Jack in the Box, Starbucks, Gap, you name it, like a lot of the big players. I was in talk with Walmart towards the end, the VPs of finance. So it wasn't definitely for lack of effort or lack of performance. It was just more,
so you were hustling.
This guy's done. He's burnt out. Let's replace him with somebody new.
Right.
I got back home. First thing I do, panic. I'm like, I need to sell everything I can to try and make ends meet. So the first thing I sell is my dog. I just had bought my daughter's a dog, an English bulldog.
Oh, geez.
And I was like, okay, well, goodbye, little fella.
He ran away.
I didn't know it was going to sell. I picked it up for like $1,100 off of Craigslist. I'm like, I'm going to put it up for like $1,500. Maybe somebody wants it.
Yeah.
Boom. 30 minutes sold. And I was like, wait a minute. I just made $400 like right now, like in 30 minutes.
You need to start flipping dogs.
I started flipping dogs. Long story short, for the next 2 years, I became Arizona's biggest English bulldog distributor.
No way.
So I was flipping around 20 to 30 English bulldogs a month.
Wow.
To kind of gauge at the scale, I was selling these things to the basketball players, the football players, the Cardinals. I mean, you name it, like lawyers. I was like the main to go guy. But at one point I ended up on the news. One of the puppies got sick. Some of the people that bought it took it to the park with no shots. I'm like, oh my God. So I was the bad guy on the news. Got horrible human being.
Yeah.
Sick dogs to this poor defenseless woman. So anywho, I gave her money back, let her keep it, didn't die or anything. And then the next week, same thing happened again. They were chasing me to my house with cameras. I'm like, okay, that's enough of this.
Jeez.
So my brother was in real estate. I said, hey, maybe I could be a realtor or whatever it is that you do. So I started, it took me a while to pass my license. Turns out I sucked at being a realtor. And I'm like, dude, I can't open a house to save my life. I opened 10 houses and I was so upset at the end because they didn't want any of them. And I was like, there's no more houses. Okay, that's it. We run out of houses. Pick one of those. So that didn't work out too well until I ran into wholesaling. And I was like, you mean to tell me I can just grab a house and add whatever I want and pass it to somebody else? I'm like, this is great.
Done.
I did my first deal like that, $5K. Never looked back after that. Now we've been running.
You haven't touched another bulldog since?
I haven't looked back at bulldogs. I have a couple of bulldogs because I just love the breed.
Yeah.
I spend most of my time just hanging out with them at the house, but ever since then,
how did we end up with Wholesale Sharks and not Wholesale Bulldogs?
I know that was going to be my question too.
that would have been made more sense probably. I just feel like in order to stay afloat in any industry, you have to be a shark and not get eaten. You're either the minnow or the shark, and so it just stuck with it. Like, oh my God, we have to be sharks, to stay afloat, and so it just stuck. And the rest is history. The Lambos, the parties in Vegas with midgets and all that. It's insane. All that happened because I thought that's what success was. So I'm like, unless I'm doing those things, I'm not successful. Later on, after I went through all that nonsense, I'm like, that's not success. Like spending all my money on dumb things isn't success. I thought I had to be the person emulating this lifestyle in order for me to be successful, and so I could validate, okay, I made it. But now, after I went through all those growing pains and did all that, now I realize I'm like, it's not about things; it's about more about family and experiences, and so I'm past my growing pains.
Freedom's like a big one.
So I feel like I'm a little bit more mature now, and what real success is to me personally, it is not so much about things, but they're still there. I don't know. Maybe I'll get rid of it one of these days, but I think I've gone through my phase of craziness.
Did you buy a tiger yet? That's the big one.
You know what? I had 2 monkeys last month.
No.
At my house. I didn't show any pictures of it because I'm like, I don't think this might be.
Yeah, you can get in trouble. For sure.
But I had 2 monkeys at my house the other month, and I was like, take your monkeys back.
How'd you get monkeys?
Dude, I'm Mexican, bro. How did I get here? Like I'm here. If I could get in here,
I could get some damn monkeys in here.
Let's just say about 1,000 people. Well, let's just leave it at that. Monkeys are here. They're gone now. Okay. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole.
Yes.
But there were monkeys at my house. They're gone now. I'm like, do not buy monkeys. These things will mess up.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So quick question: as you, I'm sure last January, February, March, you were doing just as well as all of us, right? No one could make a mistake. There were no mistakes in the business. Yeah. And then I'm sure we all have this same story. As June came around, July came around, September came around, October came around, you're just like, got to readjust my business just a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So does going through that and you guys weren't around in 2007. This is a correction. This isn't a like the last one was just a meltdown. This is just a correction. This is nowhere even close to 2007 or 8. But I'm just wondering, did the tightening up help, like what you say, grow up about the spending in Vegas and all that kind of stuff?
Oh man.
I think it did. I mean, and it's just kind of difficult to keep up that lifestyle while seeing that so many people are out of jobs, so many people can't afford to pay their bills. Like, if we're laying people off here in the company, I'm like, how can I, with a straight face, go and keep partying and doing all that, knowing that people are generally struggling in the market? So we had never gone through such a growing phase. Last year we grew to like 15 people in the company. And this year, now all of a sudden we were down to like 4 or 5.
Yeah.
So it didn't feel right. So we sort of cut back on that. And, I think just experiencing that, it was awful because, whoever you bring on board are amazing human beings. Like, you will not bring somebody on board unless you think this guy is like a gem, right? So
for us want them in your office.
For us to part ways with these heavy hitters that we know are amazing, and the only reason why they're not here is not because of them, it's because of how the market shifted and maybe the needs for that type of service was no longer needed. That was a huge shock for us, and it definitely made us grow up. And I think we needed to grow up a little bit, just because I was in the process of writing a book about how to ride a massive wave and be successful, and then all of a sudden this thing happened where the wave ran out, and we're like over here trying to not sink. Yep. And so I think that was definitely a huge realization of, the ups and the downs. I don't think people should be writing a book just because they've only gone through good. Now seeing this dip and readjusting to the dip and, still staying afloat when a lot of people aren't no longer in business. Like, I think this correction wiped out about 90% of the wholesalers that are out there.
Oh, I think so too.
There's only a few people left, and we're looking around like all these guys are gone, So our last event, we usually have over 1,000 people at our events. Our last event was a huge indicator, man. We had maybe 300.
Right.
300 people. And so I go out there and like the thing is empty, and I'm like, where the hell is everybody? That was literally my first statement. Where did everybody go? I'm like, well, there you go. If you don't want to, if you want to sign up the correction, here it is. Every single event, we've never had less than 1,000 people. And I had to walk out in a massive room at a Sheraton and be standing in front of like 200-ish people, 300-ish people.
Right.
I'm like, oh my God. Okay, well, there it is. There's your sign.
Yeah, well, I think that's, part of the thing is that it's with wholesaling, there's such a low barrier of entry. You know what I mean? You can get into wholesaling, you take a quick course, you can do nearly anything. You sell one house and you think you know what you're doing in wholesaling. And so it can be so easy to jump in and especially like you said, Chris, when things are going good in that market that it was in, shit, you could sell, there's people that were just buying properties off the MLS and just selling them to hedge funds and making 10, 20K, and so it's like, you can definitely get to that point where you think like, oh man, I'm unstoppable. Like I know exactly what I'm doing. When realistically, it didn't take any effort at all. It literally just took a little bit of sales, training to be able to say, oh, this deal looks like it could be a decent deal. Oh, and I just made 20 grand. So I think that, when everything came to light, like you said, 90% of the people were in that kind of space where I was like, oh man, I thought I knew what I was doing, but I guess I really didn't. And so, it's unfortunate, but at the same time, I think it was such a good learning experience for everyone, myself included, because I'm right there with you, Ramon. I've been doing it for 8 years now, but again, 8 years, I missed 2007, I missed 2008. So I was really just kind of on the incline. I came in at 2014. Yeah, 2014. And so, 2014, the market was low, but it was climbing. And so like everything from that point had been to an extent fairly easy. Obviously don't get me wrong. Business is like this, right? You go through ups and downs, but at the same time, it was fairly easy for what we were doing. And so, so it's like, once that hit, it was an eye opener of like, wow, this is real life. This is real business in the sense of, how things can change very quickly.
Well, the problem is the problem is you had all the gurus back in January and February going like, oh, inventory is too low. This can't change. And it just goes back to the simple supply and demand. You can have a really low supply, but if interest rates go to 7.5 and your demand goes below your supply, you have trouble.
Yep, exactly.
It's very eye-opening. It's very eye-opening how even the gurus are gone. Like some of these trainers are no longer training. Like they're out of the training space. We offer trainings from time to time, and just to see like people are really hurting. 12 months ago, we'd offer a training. We would sell 30 seats. Like $3-4 grand a pop, like within 30 minutes. And now, like people don't have $3 grand to spare on training, $2 grand to spare on training. It's very eye opening, and but then at the same time, it's also making us stronger. The ones that are still here, that we're still getting deals, every week here and there. It's making us stronger, wiser. It's giving us more. It's giving us more grit. I think overall it's a good growing experience. Whoever's
no doubt about it.
This, we're gonna be like, okay, well, we've withstood the test of a recession. And, we're just going to be that much stronger because when things start going better, and I feel that they're getting better, by the way, we're starting to move things quicker again, sight unseen.
Yeah.
I think, it's just going to be a lot more for those that are still here.
Well, the other thing too, it makes you get creative. I know like here at Viking, we've gotten so much more creative over the last, 8 months, just since everything kind of happened. We were wholesaling and flipping absolutely everything before. Where now, we're finding ourselves looking at innovations. We've done a couple creative deals, which we don't even normally do that. Where it's like, it's one of those things where you are trying to find any exit strategy, which we talked exit strategies last week, Chris, but you're talking anything, you're trying to find that anything that's going to be able to just make you money now. Like, at least that's what we've done. We've been like, okay, well, those days of wholesaling or wholesaling deals and making 50 grand, those might be gone for a little while, or maybe they're gone for a long time. Who knows? But so you have to kind of, pivot. You have to get creative. And that's what we've done. So, we went and started House of Viking, which is just a community. So, we've done all kinds of different things now to where it's like, we're partnering with you guys on a flip. Chris, I don't know if you knew that. We're partnering with Brent on a flip. So it's like, there's all kinds of different routes that we're going now to where it's just, you just got to stay afloat. You got to do whatever you can to keep the money coming in.
Jack doesn't tell me anything, so don't assume that.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
He probably sold 2 houses to Ramon today. he's partnering on a flip with you, and I don't know what even's going on.
Well, it's in Prescott, so you should know.
Whenever he doesn't answer my calls, I'll have to name drop Chris. I'm like, hey, I'm so happy to be with Chris on the, and then he'll reply again. Oh, okay. He name dropped my dad. Maybe I should reply to him today.
Okay, fine. Hold on. That's awesome.
But we've done a ton of deals with Jack, and so last year we were going crazy at it. Like it was like boom, like a couple of deals a week, and it was insane. And we had the Suns games going on, so it was like we were loving life. It was like a dream come true.
Absolutely, love it.
Well, it's not good. I don't think it's going to get back to that. But the people that are saying like, "Hey, the world's ending," is as long as interest rates stick around at 5.5, right. I think, or the market will move because people have to move, whether it's divorce, they're moving jobs, they got laid off. I pretty much got the same story that Ramon got. Everybody's like, oh, what motivated you to get into real estate? I got laid off. That's what motivated. I wasn't some cool guy that got a bunch of motivation and went out there and did it. It's like, oh, can you come in the conference room, Chris? Oh, here's your check.
Oh my God. That's the motivation for you.
Yeah, right. Oh, that's funny.
I was going to say, new ideas or new strategies going into 2023, or just it sounds like you've gotten a little leaner in your operations, and you're just moving forward, right?
Yeah, we've gotten leaner, we've gotten meaner. We've definitely sharpened in our skills. We're adjusting our marketing. I mean, we're shifting quite a bit. We have some TV stuff coming up that we're working on. We just partner up with this Mexican celebrity for sort of, he's going to start working with us on some stuff here locally.
Heck yeah.
So Facebook ads are going, cold callers are always going. I'm doing a little bit more hands-on than before, because you can only just sit back as a business owner, right, and just wait for people to do things. But after 2-3 months pass and things are starting to get serious, you have to get back in there and like grab a hold of things and start moving the needle again. Because if that needle doesn't move, I mean, there's a lot of responsibilities, that still need to be taken care of. So I found myself taking more of a charge of calling some people and be more involved, making sure we have our spreads are bigger, making sure, we're still hitting our monthly goals. So that way, everything still keeps moving healthy. Before I was more hands off. I was in my office all day, and now it's like I'm in there. I'm in the trenches again. Yeah. But it's actually fun though. I was very depressed when I had to leave that role and turn into more of the the business owner versus the business operator. But now that I'm back in there, looking through Podio, looking through the leads, calling a few people, locking stuff up and getting my flow, I'm like, it's like exciting. I love it. Like it reminds me of what it was like at the beginning. And so you can imagine, we do with the experience that we have. I do 3-4 deals. I mean, we're always hitting 100K. So it's not that we have to do 10, 15, 20 deals. Like 3-4 deals with 20, 25K juice in them each. I mean, that'll make up your month. So it's not really a lot of stuff that we need to worry about. It's just a couple of deals here and there that have good spread. Will definitely get you there. And I think just having the sales skills of being around for a long time and being able to position yourself quite well will get people there.
Heck yeah. I think this last obviously downturn is also, I think it's a lot of us, it's really helped our leadership skills, because like you said, it was really easy to kind of just when things were just flowing, it was easier to sit in your office and kind of, not worry as much because you're just kind of like, yeah, go for it, guys. Like you guys seem like you know what you're doing. Seems like things are going pretty good. And then when it all kind of comes crashing down, it's like, okay, like you said, I got to get back in here. I got to get back in the trenches. I got to lead by example. I got to show these guys what they're supposed to be doing. I need to make sure that, you have your hand on the pulse the whole time.
Well, it's very eye-opening though, because when everything's going good, you think you don't want to look under the hood when everything's going good. Yeah, everybody's doing great. The number, you just look at the numbers on the board and you let everybody be. So when things are going wrong, and you have to look under the hood, and you have to look at the, what people are doing individually, individual contribution, and you see that some people have been not contributing for the past 3 months, for the past 4 months, and you finally look under the hood. That's a very disturbing thing to see in any company, right? So that's when you start laying down the hammer like one after another, and when you realize it was only a couple of people that were performing crazy levels, and then just, you had a lot of payroll that you might have not necessarily needed, but because everything was good, you were just going, and nobody look at it, don't touch it, just let it keep working. Maybe they're a lucky charm. Don't move anything.
Well, it's called the 80-20 rule, right?
What's that?
The 80-20 rule.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, that's really it. 20% of your team will do 80% of the deals.
And it was fun, having a lot of people, all these personalities running around, joking around. I'm like, hey, if the numbers are looking the way they're looking, we got used to multiple 6-figure months. So I was like, dude, I don't care if like one dude's the one doing it, and just do not touch it. Do not touch it. Don't break it. But then
I like where it's at right now, right?
Yeah, I'm like, dude, everybody's cool. Don't touch anything. But once the numbers started going in the other direction, okay, let's take a look at that. Yeah, it's very eye opening.
I'm sure a lot of business owners in the real estate community have turned from owners to operators in 2022, or at least the second half of 2022. Because you have to. I mean, as stuff gets tighter, you have to tighten up the ship. So that's just part of the deal. It's part of being an owner, right?
Yeah, you hate to say it, but you got to cut the dead weight. I mean, you do.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. I was talking to my brother Rodrigo. He's more the operations guy, and we're talking about this deal that I locked up. The lady was in Mexico, land, and she wanted $200,000 right off the bat. 1 acre like in Levine or something like that. I'm like, by the end of the conversation, I had her down to like 100,000, and at the end we ended up agreeing at 120. I already had a buyer ready to go at 140. And so, but it took me a good hour of rapport building and joking around. We're from the same town, blah, blah, blah. And then after we hung up and everything was going, I was talking to my brother Rodrigo, and I'm like, do you think anybody else could have like locked this up and done this at that level? Or would somebody else say, no, this is where we need to be, call me back if something changes? And it was very eye-opening because we were in agreement, this needed an actual person with the experience that we have directly in order to make this deal work. Because I think just somebody that has instructions from the owner might be more difficult for them to adjust in real time versus when you're the owner, you have the experience, you could play around with it because you're not too serious, joke around.
Yeah. And the other thing, there's not as much, because I'm the same as you. I still make cold calls every day. But it's one of those things where you have a lot more, you have a lot more leeway just because, when like you said, when it's instructions with someone on your team, they're going to come back and say, well, can we do this? They're at this. Where do we need to be? Where as the owner, where you need to be ahead of time. And so you can kind of direct that conversation exactly where you want it to go because you already know your numbers. So like you said, maybe you talked her down, you threw out your low number at the 100 because, you knew the whole time you're going to be able to come up because you knew you could sell it at 140. So then you as an owner are going to know, okay, I've got from $100,000 to $140,000 to work with this. Depending on how much I want to make, that's where I can be. Where again, someone on your team might say, hey, can I be at 110? Can I be at 120? What can we come up to? You know what I mean? So you have a lot more of that back and forth versus exactly what you just said. Yeah.
And I think, also being in the same room with our dispo team, because if my instructions to my team is, hey, get these at 60K, I might not even hear about this opportunity. Oh no, we're too far apart, And I think also as a business owner is having conversations with your team, are you guys asking the right questions? I was talking to one of my team members and I was like, hey, so did you build rapport with them at the beginning of the conversation? And she said, oh, no, I'm still talking, or I'll build it later, maybe in the other couple of calls. I was like, oh my God.
You're not going to get a second call.
Yeah, sometimes there's no second or third calls. Like you get in, you say, oh, Hawaii, whatever, I just came back.
Yeah.
Get that in so you can have the opportunity. Yeah. But you get to see that some of these things might not have been getting done once you're in the same room with people. Mm-hmm. And that's when you're actually looking at the oil levels of the company readjusting some of these parameters.
Right.
And I think that's probably when you make them better, when you're in there with them and just chatting it up. Right now, I'm doing like the Spanish calls, and I have somebody else doing the English calls, and I'm like, you make a couple, I make a couple, and we'll see what we can do. And that's just what it looks like on a daily basis. We don't try to do too many of those because we have a lot more opportunities of other relationships that we're working with.
Right.
But I mean, if we can land 1 or 2 self-sourced a week, that'll add up. 3 to 4 a month with 20 spread, 25 spread, even a 15 spread. I mean, that adds up, and plus the other little add-ons here and there with relationships. Definitely keeps the boat going.
No doubt about it.
If you're still getting $20,000 or $25,000 spreads on a couple, that carries a lot of weight, right? Because we all have to say that our wholesale fees have shrunk a little bit. So
no doubt about it.
I think our target goal is like around 15. I noticed for a moment that our assignment fees were like around 5,000 for a moment, for like about a month or so. Like we're getting a lot of these little 5,000s in there.
Yeah.
And it just got me upset. Like 5,000. I'm like, surely you could have raised the other one side to 2,500, and the other side under another 25, at least 10. Because some of these smaller ones, they take forever to close, and then it's like so many. Like, do I want to be stuck in a lawsuit with people for 5,000? Sometimes these things go into horrible spirals. Like, I don't think it's even worth it. So for me, like, and some people might say, "Oh, that's wrong." Like 5,000. Like, I will walk away from a deal right now. I will walk away from a deal for $5,000. I will not touch a deal, because now my attention is to a deal that has 5,000. When I could switch it over to a deal that might have 15, 20,000.
Right.
So like, we don't even we have one deal left from the old days where it was okay to have $5,000 deals, but now like 5,000 deals are frowned upon, just because they don't help anyone. Like, how big is a commission check? How big is a commission check for somebody for $500? 5,000, like $500.
I was gonna say, by the time it's all split up and everything is, all the time and effort goes into it for sure. Especially, and obviously it's because you're direct to seller, and I'm the same way. Where Chris, when you're a dispo company, you'll take 5s all day because it's like, it's quick and easy and done. But like you said, when you're direct to seller, I'm with you. 5,000, you're like,
dude, and then these things end up going to probate.
Do I want to go through this right now? For sure.
Yeah, $5,000 probate deal sounds like brain damage.
Oh my God! Like, I don't even want to know about it. Like, dude, 5,000 is the buy-in to our poker game. I don't want $5,000 deals. Please keep it. We do something. I don't want to hear that anybody got a $5,000 deal. Like, and then at the end it falls apart. Oh, seller didn't want to sell at the end of it. I'm like, oh my God, I haven't slept over this deal. I didn't even go through at the end. I'm like, oh, awesome.
Yeah.
And like I said, it might sound wrong, and some people might say, oh, well, all day, everything counts. But once you know that, the $15,000 deal is waiting right behind the $5,000 deal, like, dude, move this 5,000 out of the way. If it's easy, whatever, throw it in. But if not, don't even look at that. Let's just move to these other opportunities.
Heck yeah.
So are you just wholesaling, or are you adding any creative finance, novation, anything like that? Or are you just sticking to your wholesale deals?
I am the most stubborn person on earth, and anything that sounds like being a realtor just gives me shivers, just because I remember how bad I was at being a realtor. And so that's why I've kept a little bit away from novations and all that, because I'm like, wait a minute, so you list the property, so does that mean now you're coordinating kind of like a realtor sort of role? So I'm like,
he's a true wholesaler at heart. He's like, just give me the wholesale deals.
Yeah. So I'm like, no. And then just the thought of waiting a lot longer for it to close, and
for sure,
it just brings me back to my old realtor days. And I just have my license just so I can open monsoon.
So Ramon, do you flip anything or all wholesale?
We got our asses beat 2 months ago. Three, sort of like when the thing started shifting, we bought five or six houses, and we lost about $50,000 to $60,000 on each house.
Yep.
And so we lost $300,000. It evaporated. $300,000 was gone because we sold them pretty much bare bones, and then the remodel was in there. 30, 40 grand in remodel. So we lost maybe 40 or 50 on each.
Yeah, we did the exact same thing.
So, and we just wanted to get out, because these hard money payments add up and all that. So right now we're not really doing any flips ourselves. But we made a good amount of money from flipping when things were going great. I mean, we're buying 12, 14 flips a month. A lot of them were from you guys, from Jack. I'm actually stuck in a house that I bought from you guys right before the thing went south. But it's when you could be a little bit more careless. Like, I saw the one behind it sold for $515, and I'm like, dude, I'll sell this for $5. I'll get an offer at $530 all day, like in a minute. And it was true when that was happening, but I got it right at the shift.
Oh.
And I'm like stuck with like a $500,000 house, and I've rented it. I've kicked them out. I'm like, so I'll probably just end up refining it, maybe sell it to like a relative and just rent it out for the short time being. That's probably the best exit strategy for that one. But I managed to get out of all the properties. I just minus that one.
That's the price point that's been hit the hardest too. Is that like 500 to 800? That's been the sweet spot. That's just been like.
Luckily, I switched it over from hard money to private.
Okay.
So then I got like 7% on my money on that one. So it wasn't.
That's not bad at all. Yeah.
So it just.
Well, 7% is about what you're going to get on a refi right now on an investment property.
Oh yeah.
I'm closing one this week at 6.75. So.
Yeah. So it's not in the worst shape right now. I got in touch with one of these claim adjusters, and he wants to pay me like $5,000 a month or something for short-term rental for one of their clients whose house flooded or something like that.
Oh, okay,
so
cool.
It's just adjusting, and all these are lessons, by the way. Like, just because I lost in all these things, I lost in 6 different ways. So it's like, now I know 6 different ways for me not to lose on going forward.
Yeah.
Like, I have 6 different strategies that I should, adjust in my future learnings and strategies personally. But it's all part of the game. I mean, that just $250,000-$300,000 worth of schooling that I have. So I mean, that just makes me that much sharper.
Yeah, for sure.
What's that saying? You'll learn 10 times more on your losses than you will on your gains.
Yeah. I learned nothing from my gains. We were flipping 12 to 15 houses. They were selling like crazy. What was I learning? I was learning nothing. Buy everything, sell everything. Yeah. But on these, you start learning about quality of properties, why they were sitting longer. You start looking into all the details. Did we stage it? Did we not stage it?
Yep.
Why did it take so long? Was it the neighborhood? Like, there's so many things that you learn.
Why didn't this house move? Why did this house move? All that stuff.
Yeah. So now you can talk from experience, but it's all part of the game. Part of the growth process, learning process. And as long as we're here and we can still keep the lights on, everybody's happy and enjoys coming into work. It's a huge blessing. And we just got to write it out. I'm proud that we're still here going strong and, with just 100% wholesaling. Yeah. So, I mean, if we could continue to just do what we're doing in Arizona, which is a difficult market, I mean, we're very happy.
Heck yeah.
Cool.
Love it.
Well, we usually just jump on these things for like 30 minutes but it was great hearing your story. And, I've been doing this for 21 years, so I've felt all the pains that everybody else has felt.
I know.
I know. But it's fun. It's fun watching, because I was literally on this show about this time last year, like going, Luke, you should just wholesale a little bit more. I don't know if you listened to me, but it's hard to butt your nose in somebody else's business, right? You're just like,
no,
you remember those times, Luke?
Oh God, do I ever? So Ramon, we were very similar, where we had the at the craziest point, we had about 24 or 25 flips going on at once. And we had on our deal.
What did I tell you every week? Do you want to like wholesale like half of them?
Yeah, and we had 46 active deals on our deal board, and we're just like, exactly like you said, like everything is going great. This is fantastic, and then it was literally just like boom. And so we obviously sold some of them off quickly if we could, try to just break even on some of them. We still ended up doing okay on some of them because we had them deep enough, because we're direct to seller on most of our properties too. And then, we unfortunately we had to cancel on a couple of them. And then we ended up getting crushed on probably about 6 homes. And so, but it was exactly the same thing. Those 6 homes ended up being about $300-400 grand worth of losses, which is,
worth the lessons.
Which is, when you think that those are going to be wins, so you think that that's going to be, those properties were going to be, I think we had underwritten them for like 700 grand or something like that. And then it's a 400K. It's like it was like $1 million shift. And like, having $1 million shift in your business, just like that, when you're not expecting it, it'll hit you. So, but like you said, we're lessons learned and we're running super lean. We always ran pretty lean in the sense of our team, but just not fun. Not fun.
And well, I mean, I think it's very important to surround yourself as well with a lot of these people that have the experience. I know, Chris, we went out to dinner that one time with Zach, and you were sharing your experience and how a lot of the things that you possessed were pretty much paying for themselves, and you had all these things, but that was the strategy that you had implemented from the beginning. Like your boat, you have it, rent it out, and you go and you use it, it's paying for itself, and all
exactly.
the properties and this and that, and maybe at the beginning when we were listening to that, we weren't, we were just thinking about make a lot of money into this and that. But now we go back and we revisit some of these conversations, and we're like, oh my God, that's cheap. Like it's just it's incredible to get some of these gems from people that have been in the industry for a while, like yourself.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
Well, like you said, you explain stuff to people and be like, because I've been through the last one was way worse than this one, but like,
oh yeah,
if you're not leveraged a lot and what to watch for. Like I was literally telling inventory to Luke every week. I was like, this is the inventory. This is the inventory.
Yep. Like, no, you definitely did. There's no doubt about it. Definitely did.
So, but thanks for jumping on, Ramon. Let me know when the next poker game is. Try to get it to a Tuesday night.
I'm going to try to switch it because you're always on a plane on a Thursday. I already know that.
Gone for the long 4-day, 5-day weekend.
Woo. Hey, 50% over there, 50% over here. I see it. I like it. Love it.
I caught lunch with Chris last week, which I was amazed. I was amazed you were in town.
Yeah.
Well,
thanks, guys. I got to run off to the next meeting.
I know. What time do I have to be there, Chris? What time do I need to be there?
5:30. So get there at least by 5:25.
Okay, sounds good.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for having me on. It was a pleasure.
Of course.
Look forward to doing some deals with you guys here soon.
Let's do it. We'll shoot you some stuff we got.
Let's go.
We'll see you guys.
Yeah, send them to me. Just piss Jack off.
There you go.
Right, exactly.
I sent them to your father, Jack.
See you guys.
Exactly. We'll see you.